What's up, everybody? Welcome to Indie Comics Review. This is the show where every week I review 3 indie comic books. If that is the kind of content you find interesting, be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button. And if you'd like to support the channel, there's a link below to my Alternative City shop where I sell t-shirts, comic books that I make, pins, stickers, and other cool stuff. This week, I'm going to be doing it a little bit differently. I'm going to revisit some of the books that I reviewed before and see how they wrapped up. Some came out pretty good. Some not so good. Let's get started right away. And the first series I'm going to review is Until My Knuckles Bleed. And it is written and drawn by Victor Santos. And it is on the Behemoth Comics label. A tale of crime and capes in the style of The Boys, Watchmen, and Sin City. The 90s were the most extreme age of the superheroes. But times have changed. Gavin Hart, aka Damager, now works as a bouncer in a strip club managed by the Russian mob, hangs out sporadically with his ex, Avenger Lady, and wrestles with the long-term effects of his cyber implants. But fate always keeps one last cheap shot up its sleeve for a hero. Now, those of you that watch the channel know that I love this book. Victor Santos did such a great job on this series. It's a 3-issue series. There's going to be a one-shot coming out in a few months. This is a fantastic series. I love cartoonists that do it all, and Santos did it all in this series. You really have an empathy for Damager. Damager is this ex-hero who's fallen on hard times. Like I said, he's working as a bouncer in a strip club run by the Russian mob. He's acting like a big brother to all the girls, and sometimes they think that he overreaches a little bit and he's too much of a father figure or a protector, and there's conflict as far as that goes. You can see his desperation, the fact he's trying to cozy up to the owner of the shop so he can eventually maybe be a manager, because he knows that this is his only future. And the Russian mob is kind of like they're really a closed, as you would imagine, a closed world where they only promote from within their own. They have to be Russian. He's protecting the girls. The guys are being assholes to him. And of course, one night, Damager is working his shift, and there's these asshole Saudis in there, which may be a redundant term, but these Saudis like start really harassing the girls and forcing one of them in particular to perform sex acts. And Damager just gets pissed off and just starts wailing on these guys, and the owner of the club gets mad at him because the Saudis are good customers. He doesn't want to lose customers. So the next day, he's called at home and said, "Hey, you know what? Don't worry, don't come in. In fact, the club is closing. They've moved on," and he's concerned about the girls. He's bummed out that he's lost his job, of course, but he's more concerned about what's happening to those girls. So he goes looking for the girls. He finds that they're being shipped just like property, because in the sex trade, that's the way that works. And he goes to work and proceeds to try to rescue them. And there's some assistance from other sources, and it wraps up in a really pleasing manner at the end. And this 3-issue series is, I love short series to begin with, but this 3-issue series is just perfectly long enough. The artwork is great. It's like a graphic design element to some of the artwork, some of the fight scenes, that you feel the intensity of his anger and his frustration. And the name says it all in the description, because you can actually, it's just such a brutal book with such, and it's not unnecessarily gory, but you can definitely feel the anger and the violence that this man is feeling in his life. So from that point of view, I think that this series absolutely works. It's brief, it's to the point, it's well written and drawn by the same person. Man, I would get this in a trade. I'm going to definitely be getting the one shot when it comes out in a few months. And this is the way a book should wrap up. Until My Knuckles Bleed. I cannot say that name enough. That's one of my favorite series of the year so far. It's at the end of the year, I can't see what's going to top it, but we'll see what happens from there. But for right now, this is definitely a series that wrapped up well for me, and I really enjoyed it. The next book is Regarding the Matter of Oswald's Body. It is written by Christopher Cantwell and is illustrated by Luca Casalangida, and is on the Boom Studios comics label. Where is Lee Harvey Oswald's body? The Kennedy assassination is a rat's nest of conspiracy theories. Mafia involvement, the second gunman, government cover-up, but the most important chapter of this sordid tale may just be the theory that the body buried at Oswald's Rose Hill gravesite is not actually Lee Harvey himself. Meet the ragtag group of useful idiots who were unwittingly brought together to clean up the crime of the century. A wannabe cowboy from Wisconsin, a Buddy Holly idolizing former car thief, a world-weary civil rights activist ready for revolution, and a failed G-man who still acts the part, and specifically regarding the matter of Oswald's body. For fans of the Department of Truth and Time Before Time comes an off-kilter crime thriller set in the shadows of history's greatest conspiracy by Eisner Award-nominated writer, producer, and director Christopher Cantwell, Iron Man, the United States of Captain America, and artist Luca Casalangia, Lost Soldiers, and Scout's Honor. When I first read Oswald's body, I thought it might be, when I first picked it up, I should say, I thought it might be sort of a takeoff on Department of Truth. It even mentions Department of Truth in the description. Sometimes I'm wary when another series mentions another series. Even though the comparison sometimes may be correct, it may be just a quickly produced ripoff of that series. Not the case here. Very different story. This is a story centered on the characters in the story, not necessarily about the operation or the organization the way the Department of Truth is. In regarding the matter of Oswald's body, the characters develop over the 5-issue span of the series. We get to know them better. It's not over the top. It's not something that's, these people aren't stereotyped from very different walks of life, but they're not stereotypes. They're not friends. When it first begins, and they never become really friendly, but there's a degree of respect that is earned over the series and over the days that they spend together in this cover-up. There are people who believe that Oswald himself was a patsy. These people were the patsy's patsy. Without giving away too much of the series, I can say that this would make an excellent movie or short TV series. I enjoyed every issue of this. It came out on time, once a month. It wrapped up beautifully. At the end was satisfying. Who you think will be the biggest, I should say the main protagonist, or the person who the story will focus on in the end, you may be surprised at who it is. But it is satisfying, and Boom is known for licensing or their properties anyway, so I can't see how this doesn't make it to the big screen or the little screen sometime soon. I recommend this. If this comes out, it may already be out in the trade, not sure, but I really recommend picking this up if you were thinking about getting it before. You can find it in dollar bins or somewhere, which you might be able to pick it up and read this series. It would be very much worth your time if you enjoy conspiracy theories that aren't far-fetched, but they actually make sense. And that's all I can say about it, because it was just an enjoyable read for me. And if you like this kind of stuff, I recommend you pick this up as well. The last series is The Last Book You'll Ever Read. It is written by Cullen Bunn and illustrated by Leela Laiz, and it is on the Vault Comics label. Civilization is a lie. Hidden deep in our genes is the truth, and it is slowly clawing its way to the surface. Olivia Cade knows the truth, and she has become the prophet of the coming collapse. Her book, Satyr, is an international bestseller and is being blamed for acts of senseless violence and bloodshed all over the world. Olivia's own life is in danger from those who have read her work. Determined to conduct a book tour, she hires security professional Connor Wilson to act as her bodyguard. She only has one requirement: he cannot read her work. Oh man, this is not easy. It's not easy in a lot of ways because This series was probably the most disappointing series, definitely of the year so far, and in a little while for me. That's been some I've been disappointed with, but this one was one that I really had high hopes for, that began strong, and I really enjoy and respect the work of all the creators, I should say. But man, I don't know what happened here. It started off really well. I love the art. I love the premise. I thought it had a lot of promise. I was looking at issue number 1's story and art, up to issue number 2. And by the time it got to issue number, let's say like 4, there was an unscheduled, unplanned, or unexplained hiatus in between of in the middle of the story arc. When it came back, it just was not the same. I wasn't sure if it was going to be an ongoing series. I mean, I kind of get the feeling that maybe they felt the same way, that it may have been an ongoing series and just wasn't strong enough to be that. But the last issue, I was really reading it, I kid you not, with my mouth agape, and just you gotta be fucking kidding me. This is what you give me? This is what you give me for the end right here? I don't know if anyone else felt that way, but I absolutely felt that they just phoned it in. They just phoned it in. Either look at the art of Leitz and see that she has done such great work on other books and even on this book. And there was some just panels that just seemed like just blocked in and maybe colored and just to get the job done. I don't know what the motivation was there, like the story. Right now I'm still reading Cullen Bunn's Basilisk and then enjoying that. It comes out once a month or thereabouts, and it's been pretty steady and consistent. He did a story not long ago, Lucky Devil for Dark Horse. That was a 4-issue series. That was decent. Okay. It may have wrapped up a little abruptly, but way better than this series did. And I feel like both of those creators, it's like they just lost interest in the story. They didn't have, maybe it was just a premise they had and they didn't know how to wrap it up. I don't know what the artist's issue was. Maybe, I don't know, maybe she was just done, but maybe she was under a deadline and was done with this series and knowing that it was toast anyway. Don't know, just speculation. But I know that it did not deliver at all. And they talk about the guy, her bodyguard. They talk about her bodyguard, who is this trained professional, and this guy just turned into like this lovesick puppy. And okay, sure, he read the book, great, but the ending was just so unexplainable. I almost want to just give it away because it's just so awful. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. But I would say if you can find this book in a dollar bin and you want to see what I'm talking about, do that. But I wouldn't recommend this series. I hate to say it, but and then I bought like all the variant covers, all the B covers, C covers, and the art was good on them. Even that started to suffer a little bit at the end. The early adult covers looked a lot better than some of the later ones, and I just get the feeling that maybe she was being overworked in some way, or there was something definitely going on with that series. I think that those of us who stuck around for the last few issues were the only ones who really cared about that book, because the creators they were already done. They've already wrapped it up and they'd moved on because it shows in the work. And this is something I don't like to say very often. I don't like to review things that I don't like, but I have to tell the truth. This was a very disappointing series. From the first 2 or 3 issues where it began with such promise, and a good premise with such promise, and the way it wrapped up with just this nonsensical ending that I don't know, any fan could have written a better ending to.
It just was a complete disaster by the time it got to the end. Maybe if they had just wrapped it up in 5 issues, like Oswald's Body, 5 well thought out issues would have made such a difference in this story. And where it is, it's I don't know. It makes, I don't know. It's a premise of it has been used before in the Johnny Depp movie. Anyway, there was a Johnny Depp movie with a similar premise about a writer who comes out with a book that does something like that. So, but still, this could have been its own thing, and it wasn't. And it's like I don't know. I would say your child disappointing you or something, but that's a little extreme. But it's definitely like a project you really had hope for, and it didn't pan out at all. So that being said, that's all for this Indie Comics review. Next week I'll be back to the normal 3 books and possibly an artist alley, because I haven't done one of those in a while. So be sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button, and turn notifications on so you know when I'm making my next video. So until next time, I'll see you guys in the funny papers. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up.